every piece of financial literacy that you can come to. What most people do is say 200,000 minus my cost of living. Oh, I can afford $10,000 a month living expenses. I make 200 grand. And then they come down here and they got nothing to invest. You got to reverse engineer this so you know what you can live on. Okay, if your number's 80, if you're like, I'm comfortable putting 80 away, I'm making 200, I'm comfortable putting 80 away, okay, I can live off 70. But you should try to keep this number as high as possible. Because 5 to 10 years from now, you're going to be actually creating that economic freedom, and then you're going to start to look like our clients. It's not that far away. You got to be disciplined, and you have to be willing to sacrifice.
So would you advise putting part of each check away, or kind of?
I mean, look, I have discipline, and lately I haven't been able to, there's a lot of parts of this business, right? We're doing earned income, we're brokerage. Like, there has to be a time that's set aside to actually reviewing and underwriting deals that are sent to you. Like, you have to be an active investor just like you're an active broker. And that actually takes a lot of time too. I'm looking at 2-3 deals a night, either telling our clients not to buy them, like, they've kind of seen me as their investment committee, and most of the time I say no, not only to like investing in them, but you shouldn't buy this either. I'm trying to learn other markets right now just to understand how those things work, because we got to diversify a little bit, all our eggs in one basket kind of thing. So yeah, you can do it. I think if you're a numbers guy, like, just every check that you get, try to put 50% away, like whatever you're gonna allow yourself to do. But if you can put 100 grand away and it's even making 7% over time, 10 years from now, it's going to be at least worth double. And I'm telling you, that's a single, and those are everywhere out there. I'll hit those singles all day long, but they might turn into doubles, triples, or homers. Okay, live below your means. And number 3, if you don't do this, you can't do this. Okay, but buy depreciable and ideally income-producing assets. Okay, this is how you shelter your money. This is why all of our clients have so much. So when we talk about, and what do I mean by depreciable assets? What is depreciation? It's a shelter that the government's giving you for owning housing, right? There's a lot of tax breaks for 2 things. Before you get all like guilty about, our clients not to be taxed. The government is telling, they want to give tax breaks to 2 things: people that create jobs and people that provide housing. There's huge tax breaks to both of those, right? So people that create jobs are helping the entire economy. That's why corporations get some tax breaks. Now we can debate how much they need, but there's a real economic reason behind it. Same thing with creating housing. Not an easy job. And we're also, every building owner is a small business owner. This idea of landlord's insane. Like, every building is its own small business. It hires people, it hires plumbers, it hires architects. Every single building is a small business. We have to start thinking of it like that. Depreciation schedule on a residential property, an apartment building that we typically sell is 27.5 years. 1 divided by 27.5 is 3.6%. Okay, so when we're talking about all these like cash on cashes and stuff like that in the setup, and it's 5% cash on cash, what that's missing is 2 things: the depreciation benefit that's sheltering either the income you're receiving from the building or off your earned income, and the principal pay down, the mortgage that you're paying down. When you add 5% to 3.6% to, on average, on a 30-year amortized loan, 1.5% debt pay down, right? Someone get their calculator? What's 5% plus 3.6? Okay, that's 8.6 plus 1.2 is almost 9.8%. Okay, going back to the rule of 72, right? There's some secret sauce working in the background as long as you get it into the oven. It's not happening at all for you outside the oven. You're just sitting with the money in the bank. It's earning 0. You have no way to shelter your earned income. You're not paying down any principal, and you're spending all that money and trying to earn your way out of it. It's not the case. So the more depreciation, the more depreciable assets you have, the more of your brokerage income you're going to keep. And this is why it makes sense. Like, you see these guys that are sitting on, vacant buildings sometimes for a couple years, or you'll see a guy that, has an insane portfolio. Like, why is he buying this building? Like, it's because it might be okay that he has a vacant building that's being renovated that year. Okay, the vacant building that he bought that's being renovated that is showing a massive loss. But it's not really a loss to him because it's against all of his other income from the buildings that are cash flowing. So this is why you got to keep buying too. The smart real estate guy, they're balancing the books this time of the year, if not beforehand, every single year. Okay, so there's reasons that you're not seeing to buy real estate, but it's because of this second category of how to protect your money, how to shelter your money. So if you make $1 million and unadjusted, like how much? $1 million divided by 3.6. If I own 27 million of the real estate, if I had bought $27 million of real estate, the first $1 million of earned income is completely wiped off every single year. So the point is, again, if you live below your means and you start buying depreciable assets that are showing a loss on the tax return through depreciation, but are still actually giving you cash back and are still actually going up in value, this is where like the delta widens. And then that cycle just fucking feeds on itself. I'm gonna shelter my income by doing business deductions that are gonna create future revenue. I'm gonna buy buildings that give me depreciation while providing me cash flow and ideally appreciation. But if you got a lot of earned income, it's okay to buy a vacant building. You know, rehab it for 18 months. It's gonna show a huge loss that's coming off your taxes. You know, just the first 3 buildings I bought was showing a negative 100 loss while they were being renovated the first time. You know, that's real money. Otherwise, it's just going away. Third thing, how to grow it, right? Yep.
Could we use that same depreciation plus cash flow plus principal reduction without appreciation? Meaning, if you want to be super conservative, say the property doesn't appreciate.
Yep.
Just say things stay the same.
Yep.
Would the numbers still pan out?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not factoring in appreciation. 5% deal plus 3%, 3.6% tax shelter. Some of that is going to tax shelter this. Plus, if it's amortized, if this 5% is on amortized debt and we're also paying down principal, it's usually going to be about 1.5% per year. So this has nothing to do with the appreciation. I'm going to show you in a second. And the reason why we can't show this, you know, we can't show the appreciation on our models because all the clients are like, dude, I don't pay income taxes. I'll never pay income taxes. Why does Donald Trump not show his tax return? He's got so much negatives, it doesn't even matter, right? So then, hey, when you have all these negatives, like, then it might make more sense to spend this money. But right now, it's getting taxed. The guy that, you know, again, like you're selling buildings for clients, you pay more income taxes than they do, and they're worth $50 to $100 million. Like it sounds crazy, but there's a reason why the tax breaks the governments are giving to people that provide housing. But anyway, again, we're in the greatest business in the world. You just got to understand the game, understand the rules of the game, understand the language of the game, and then this part, how to make it, becomes all the more relevant. And you don't have to make $1 million to start this process. This is the point. 3, how to grow it. So there's turnaround deals, homers. That's what I call them, turnaround deals. There's homers. Homers are like, we're going to show that in a second. But you don't need to always do this. You don't need, every deal does not need to be a home run. And then, so I think there's the turnaround deals, right? There's the buy, renovate, refi, tax-free. Get all your money back, or ideally a lot of your money back, home run. You can get all your money back, home run. How do you calculate that? Well, I'll show it in a second just through my own example. And then the cash flow deals, these type of deals, right? And we're gonna go through that example. I would call these single, doubles, and triples. But I used to think I would never want to hit a single. I was like, I want this. Now I'm like, if I could just stop waiting around for years on end for these, it might take me 3 years to do one of these, or I might think it's one of these, but then get burned, when in reality, I should just be every year contributing to this single bucket. So this has also been my mistake. But the money just sitting there for 3 years on end, not doing anything, sitting at UBS even for 2%, but that 2% dividend, if you have 2% on the stock, it's getting chopped in half by the government. It's really 1. When you always think get money to work, people are always saying that. It's because they understand the nature of compound interest, and waiting around for these homers that might be a little bit riskier also, or might never come, while you could have been investing in singles and doubles along the way, this actually might get you, the tortoise wins the race.